Hello, and today I want to share with you on my theory about why Adam Smith's division of labor wasn't a particularly original idea, was actually a mere economic extension of Aristotle's virtue theory. Now, I first proposed this in my publication on virtue theory, which is on my blogs and script and things like that. It's 8 pages long. It talks about just virtue theory, but inside there I've put a paragraph on my theory, but I didn't stress on it because the whole point of the publication was as an A-level revision guide. This theory that I'm about to share with you, I think is particularly revelational because we see Adam Smith as a father of economics. He is the backbone of neoclassical economics, and actually it might be that the real true father is Aristotle, because all Adam Smith did was apply Aristotle's virtue ethics into the realms of production of goods and services and just economics in general. So let me start with my theory. Now, I realize there will be economists watching this as well as philosophers watching this, so I will just say a brief line about each. So if you're an economist, you understand the theory of virtue, and if you're a philosopher, you understand division of labor. So let's start with the premise, the understanding of Aristotle's virtue ethics. Now, in this 8-page publication, I go into detail back to front all about the theory, but essentially, what does Aristotle say? Now, he says that how do we deal with ethical problems? A rule-based approach, a consequence-based approach, one based on divine understanding or divine rules or divine regulations doesn't work. He proposes something quite radical for his time. He talks about an agent-centered, individual development-centered approach. Actually, just thinking about it now, what is neoclassicalism? What is the ideology behind it? Individual freedom, individual growth. That's what it's about, which is very similar to what Aristotle was saying. And how Aristotle deals with ethical dilemmas that come. He says what we must do is we must realize that there are virtues, positive character attributes. Now, what are these? These are essentially the golden means. So you might have a scale. Now, let's see if I can find an example in here where. So I talk about virtues such as courage, temperance, good temper, friendliness. Now, if you look at each of these 12 virtues, just, resentment, modesty, they come in the middle of two extremes. So they're what we should strive towards as human beings. And why should we all strive towards? Because we are all trying to reach eudaimonia, which literally translates as human flourishing. What do we mean by human flourishing? It means the greatest and potential level. Why don't I read it out in the sentence I've written it? Eudaimonia translates as flourishing. What Aristotle means by this is that the human race will reach its maximum potential and society will be at its highest level to date. That's why we're trying to reach it. So, practical application of virtue theory to explain in a nutshell. You are given an ethical problem. Euthanasia, abortion, one of these ethical problems. How do we confront it? Well, we say that if I'm striving towards virtues like courage, temperance, and all this, what would people with these virtues do? I'm going to do that. And essentially, because we all live different lives, we all have different ethical problems that confront us, we all become specialized and become ingenious in one of these particular golden means, one of these particular virtues. So it's a type of specialization. But eventually, because we all have this, we reach this great era of human flourishing. So now, how does this relate to Adam Smith's theory of division of labor? Well, what did Adam Smith say? He said that the way to make an economy go, how to make us successful, how to make nations wealthier, how to get everyone wealthier, is the key is in specialization, and that too in the division of labor, which means we get labor, and what do we do with it? We separate it, and this means that we make each part of labor so specialized in one particular task that they become so good at it that they can produce tenfold the amount that someone who does the whole production line can do. Why? Because they become specialized, become second nature. And we've seen this applied. That's why today factories are not producing something from start to finish. They're buying products and they're adding some kind of value on it, and they're so specialized to do that. They benefit from scale and they pass it on. Now, I want to refer back to Aristotle's virtue theory here, because the quote which I believe sums up his theory is right on the front cover. He says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." So, if we keep on doing the same making of the pin instead of making of the whole product, excellence, substitute that for efficiency, it's not, you don't think about it, it's second nature to become so good. So essentially what I'm trying to get at here is both Adam Smith and Aristotle are intertwined, and actually because of the chronological order, I think Adam Smith, especially as he was a philosopher, was deeply influenced by this, because what's so amazing about these two is that they both have the same end result, the same finish line, and the same mechanism to achieve it. It's just said in different words, just has a different prescription. So, end finish line. Aristotle says eudaimonia, human flourishing, the greatest level human society can achieve. Adam Smith, the most Pareto efficient level, greatest productivity. Most society can achieve with its resources if we specialize. Aren't they sounding the same? Both best of society, most efficient level. How do we get through them? Aristotle says, well, you specialize in your virtues. You specialize in applying them so much so that they become a habit. You don't even have to think about it. Adam Smith, you specialize so much in producing that one little good, and you do it to such an extent that you don't even think about it, and that's why your productivity increases tenfold. So what Adam Smith did essentially isn't something really amazing. He was basically just applying what Aristotle said. But Aristotle was talking about personal development, and Adam Smith was talking about the development of physical, non-humane items. So essentially, they're the same thing. And the implication of my theory would be that perhaps Adam Smith is not so great, and perhaps he is not the father of economics who we should be giving him this amazing title to. We should be perhaps giving it to Aristotle. He was perhaps the first economist who started this neoclassical ideological belief that an individual freedom, and that is how, their models are based on. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts, and please send me some critiques and questions you may have.